Hi guys, welcome to our joint co-hosted festive tech session this year on external identities with Azure Virtual Desktop. This is my co-host, Gert-Jan
Yeah,
Poffers. Should we do a round of
definitely.
introductions for those who don't know who we both are?
Yeah, let's do that. Shall I start?
Yeah, go for it.
Hey, I'm Gert-Jan Poffers. I'm an Azure architect working at Intercept, 40 years old. Um, yeah, everything what's working in Azure I love, I guess. Building, troubleshooting, troubleshooting maybe. Yeah, troubleshooting also, but it's different from like the on-prem days, if you know what I mean. But for now, I'm focusing on everything what lives in Azure with a main focus on AVD, I guess. Yeah, that's me.
Cool, great. And for those who don't know me, I'm Simon. I've been working for Intercept as a consultant now for 4 years. Recently made Microsoft MVP in the DevOps workspace,
Yeah,
and like you, Poffy, loving all things Azure, infrastructure as code, pipelines, automation, cloud stuff when it works.
definitely.
Yeah, I'm playing with like new features, like we're going to look at today.
Yeah,
Cool.
definitely. Yeah, definitely. It's good that you mentioned infrastructure as code because if you look at how broad the whole subject is, Azure infrastructure as code, DevOps,
Yeah,
different subjects, I always forget to mention it. But yeah, I think we are touching the whole spectrum, I guess.
yeah, we've got a little bit of everything for what we're going to look at today, which is really cool.
Yeah,
So yeah, external identities and AVD. Then, how does it
yeah.
work? What are the pros and cons for it? And why do people want to use it?
That's a good question. So first of all, I think it's a really great enhancement to the Azure Virtual Desktop landscape.
Definitely.
Because I think I'm started with 5 years, 6 years ago with Azure Virtual Desktop. Then it was called Windows Virtual Desktop, and I think this was always the main topic question for the most companies. How can I invite external identities into my Azure Virtual Desktop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you always need to create an, a native Entra ID guest account, or not a guest account, of course, but an organization account and give it to
Yep.
the other party. This is a really good introduction. And last week, I would have said it's in a public preview, but I think we have now heard from the Ignite session that is now go live. So it's I think it's also then good to say that it's not in public preview anymore. So you can, I also think you can implement it for
Cool.
product cases, I guess.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, we have some pros and cons, Simon. Shall I name something?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's start with a con maybe, because we already mentioned that an external identity is a really good adding a value for the Azure Virtual Desktop landscape. But I think the a con is FSLogic is not supported in the environment because we always want to have an FSLogic profile when a user logs into an environment,
Yep.
I guess.
Definitely.
But also some good news as of today. I think it's in public that FSLogic is also in public preview to use with external identities. Not the way you used to handle FSLogic, but you have some capabilities and options now to set FSLogic on enabling.
Cool.
Yeah, and it's also good to mention that I think it's sometimes a little bit. Hey, you can use the Windows app and the browser to connect to this Azure Virtual Desktop, and I think that I have it only working for the browser for now. But we will let you see that in the demo when we are going to demo it.
Yep.
Yeah, and of course there are always some other limitation, token protection, cross-cloud invites not supported yet. And an important one, the session host always needs to be Entra joined, so you cannot only use cloud-only environments. That's also an important one, I guess. Did you hear some positive or pros and cons where you want to mention?
I think in terms of like around the whole identity thing and having like a single set of credentials, it's one less thing that like if you're working as like a contractor, for example, it's one less set of credentials you have to look after and use to log in.
Yeah.
It means that once the contract is over, for example, it's one account to remove. You don't have to remember to like disable another account.
Yeah.
It just simplifies stuff because it's one account. I've got one set of credentials. I can log in. I can access stuff.
Yeah.
Makes my life easier, and it makes your life as like internal IT easier because it's just one account, not two.
No, definitely. I also really like that we can use the licensing, the existing license you already use for companies. And so if you have an existing licensing module, of course you're going to use the multi-session one, the Windows 11. But if you have your Microsoft Business Premium licensing available, then guest users can also use that. So that's a really good opportunity, definitely. But yeah, what are the requirements? Do you know that? How to set it up?
Yeah, we need some like cloud stuff, some virtual machines. We need some Azure Virtual Desktop, like host pools and some like application configuration stuff, which, as we were just mentioning before, in terms of infrastructure as code, we have all this pre-built.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's have a look and see what we've got.
Yeah, first of all, it's maybe good to mention before I share my screen that it's only available with Windows 11 when you have installed a couple of cumulative updates, and it's only runs with Windows 11 Enterprise versions 24H2 or later. That's mainly for the image side, and like I said, you need to have the session host Entra joined. Single sign-on enabled on the host pool. That's I think the important ones. Yes, you also need to set some rights on the machine itself, because it's a cloud-only environment. So you always needed the virtual machine login user. You always needed the target AD's joint value in the host pool. But let's say that we can show you if needed. So. Let's share my screen so we can see some stuff. Hello, Visual Studio Code. Now this is the like we said in the beginning. We love to do deployments with EAC, especially Bicep, I guess,
always
to deploy our stuff, right? I'm not going to share my whole AVD infrastructure as code. I have that. It's also in the main Bicep in this file. Let's start from the top. I have a regular Azure Virtual Desktop environment using an existing, or not an existing, but a dedicated VNet. I create a variable for the scaling plans. I create resource groups, log analytics workspace for logging, some network security groups, the virtual VNet, some user-assigned managed identities, because maybe in the future you can use that for the session host configuration for the host pool. It's not needed for if you don't want, but for future purposes, it's always nice to have that. Some private DNS zones when you want to make the Azure Virtual Desktop in private, with private endpoints. Key vaults for some keys. I think that's some shared Azure image galleries, because we are always using the golden image principle.
Nice.
And the image template, because I'm a huge fan of the image template image builder function. It has some pros and cons. It's more for a later stage, I guess, but it's always handy to always get an image out of the box. But that's the main environment I already have deployed. For now, I think we need to focus on the deploy session host Bicep.
Sure.
And it basically does the same. So it calls existing resources. So of course we have an existing subscription ID. We have an existing resource group name, and host pool name, a VNet name, subnet name, gallery name, and version number. All needed when you wanted to build the session host based on an existing environment, I guess. So what does it do? What does it do? I need to say it just creates a session host based on a VM count. in a for each loop. So if I say in the bicep run file I want to have 5 session hosts, it will create 5 times the create session host module you will see here, and it will call the existing image gallery. For the latest version, you can also point that in the bicep run file as you see here. So here are all my values. Also with not some secure passwords, but this is for a demo, so that's not really we know how to do that differently, I guess. And yeah, that's basically it. And the important one, we use the extension host pool registration to add the machine to the host pool and do an intra-domain joint.
Cool.
So how are we going to deploy that? I see you.
It's going to be my next question. Yeah. How do we deploy this?
With a deployment script, of course.
Okay, cool.
But in the deployment script is more like getting some extra variables, checking the subscription ID. Are you authenticated? Do you need an extra authentication, etc., etc., etc. And at the end, it will, and I will scroll a little bit far down. You will see a what-if statement in this case. So you can see what are you deploying. You can also cancel the deployment if you want. But for now, let us deploy the session host. I have in my template I've said deploy 1. Cool. As you can see in this one, the session host count. So for now I will deploy 1. My screen is a little bit small, so I will scroll it up. Let's say, and I'm in the right folder. Yeah, I can see my deployment script. So now I have a command deploy session host.ps1, and in this one I will say deploy. So it will first validate the deployment. If are all the information right? Am I missing something? And it's important that I also use the same names of my existing environment, right? Because I have test in the name. I have now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's for the deployment. And before we are going to go to my other screen, because as a good demo, we already set some session host up, I guess, Simon. And it also generates a session host pool key, registration key for the host pool.
Yep.
And after that, I can say yes, and it will deploy a host pool. Let's say yes.
And for this bit, I guess like it's also kind of dependent on how many how many session hosts you're deploying. How long does this deployment take, give or take?
It's always it's always a little bit dependent of all the extra extensions you want to install on the virtual machines, because it needs to download and pull some stuff from GitHub or something like something elsewhere, and that will take some time. But normally it will be between 5 and 10 minutes per session host, I guess, and it can be 6 minutes, it can be 8 minutes. So, Simon, we have a session host that's being deployed using Bicep.
Nice.
Right. Shall we look into the configuration of the host pool?
Yeah. What do we need to set up?
Yes.
For the single sign-on and access and bits and pieces. Yeah,
it's maybe a little bit confusing because I have 3 host pools, but that's all because I'm testing a lot. So this is the host pool where we are going to test it.
Okay.
This is the session host we have deployed.
Yeah.
What's in the name? I think the most important thing what you need to take care of is of course your regular AVD environment, right? So you need to have some access rights to log into the machine. Think of your application group, think about your workspace access, etc. But it's nice that I put the external identity in the group, but it will not contact the host pool immediately because it needs to have some extra bits and pieces, like I told you. So if you go to to the RDP properties, you will see that this is an important one. You need to set on Microsoft Entra single sign-on. So this needs to be enabled for using the host pool. Another one that something is maybe overlooked is that the target is ARD joint. That's basically telling the host pool that the session host that lives in the host pool is Entra ID joint, I guess.
Okay, sure.
And the other one, what's also important, is the virtual machine login user. And you can set that in your EAM access control on the region group level. But that's also an important one. So I've added my Intercept account to this host pool.
Cool.
Dus that's also one important one. I also saw your account, by the way, your test account, because we did some pre-testing already.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we know how demos work, and it's always good to test those demos before doing live recording.
Always. Another thing that's good to mention is that, like we said already, is that it should work with the Windows Cloud app.
Yeah.
If I look at this Windows Cloud app, you will see that I'm logged in with my Intercept account. But when I refresh, it gives me an error. There is a registry key also in the Microsoft documentation that says that you need to add that to have Windows app capabilities. But I didn't get this to work. Also not updating to the latest version as the documents say. So I'm forced to use it in the browser for now. I also do it in this demo. If you or other people can get it to work, let me know. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. Also, switching organization, it doesn't really work for me. Maybe it's just my laptop. Maybe it's just me. It is what it is.
Okay.
But also, out of the box for the website, you need to do something different. Else, it will redirect you to your own organization. Okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What we need to find is the workspace ID. Object ID, the application object ID, and the tenant ID, and then you will get a URL, right? So if I look at my URL, then and let me paste that in the browser. Maybe that's better to see that. This is the URL. So I don't blame you for not because you will have other values when you set it up. But there's a right order to do so. And that's I will show you in my PowerShell as well. So let me open my PowerShell. So if I use the get AC WV desktop commands, I will get my object ID. It is this one. You need to copy and paste it in a notepad, something like that. Yeah. And the same thing is for the workspace ID. So the first one was the desktop, the application group ID, and this is the workspace ID. And I have 3 ones, so I need to find the right one. In this case, is the 701. Sorry, the B. The 701. This is my right object ID. And when how do you place it in which context? There's like this. So you have the Windows Cloud URL, Microsoft Web Client, and you will copy paste the object ID in it. Of the application group, the workspace ID, and of course your tenant ID. So you also need your tenant ID. So if I copy paste this in my browser, then let me do that from scratch. It's already there, but let me show you. Then I can log in with my Intercept account. I already did the invite. I will not show you how to send an invite because I think for most people is that obvious. So I will now connect to my desktop that I set up. It will connect. It will open my establish a secure connection, configure remote connection, connect it, and voila, you see an FS Logix app service running. Like I said before in the beginning of this demo, I have FS Logix not supported, but in my image what I'm using is FS Logix enabled. So I will get my FS Logix services.
Yeah.
I will probably have problems logging out because it's not enabled. You can do that, but it's not for this demo. But you can see that I have a demo. If I look at it in the portal, I will also see a user account probably. Let me check. Yes, this is my external. You can also see it's an external guest account because it's the EXT beforehand. So yeah, that's basically how to log into the external using an external identities, Simon.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it's also worth adding on to this. Like, yes, this is kind of like a whistle-stop overview of how it works, but you've also written some blog posts around, which we'll link in the video description below. So if you want to read up and look at the bicep in slightly more detail than what we did for here, that's all publicly available.
Yeah, you can, and it's publicly available. And like I said, it's all still very new.
Yeah.
So that means that there will probably be some problems or errors, and documentation is being rewritten maybe also from the Microsoft documentation. I think weekly, because I every week I do a refresh on the documentation regarding this, and I will see new features or new fixes that being implemented. Yeah. And yes, there are also some little bit boundaries. Think about file shares. You can use them, but you need to look at it like a cloud solution only file share if you want to implement that. So anti-fast permission, that sort of stuff is a little bit different. But yeah, I think for you, fair to say that I think it's a really nice option to implement if you have the business case for that. Do you know which business cases, Simon, you can implement this? Do you know some business cases you can implement this?
Yeah, I think it's like we were saying earlier on, for having like external contractors coming in to be able to do stuff. If you then need to provide like access for limited connectivity or services or specific applications, if someone needs to use stuff. Even like maybe as a software company, if I built a product that I want to have SSO integration set up into, so I can just log in. There's definitely benefits for it, for sure.
I also think there are definitely use cases using them as a safe environment for using jump boxes. Maybe. I really enjoyed. I'm happy with this new option being introduced. And hopefully they also get the FS Logix thing to work a little bit more advanced.
Yeah, that'd be really nice.
Yeah, and if that's needed, then because the only thing you can let's say you can use it without FS Logix, but it will create local use profiles on your local disk, so your AVD will be bigger. So that's not a problem because the external identity can log in, can do its thing, but you need to take care. So FS Logix is not really needed if you have the business case, but it has slightly different capabilities. It's a cool option.
Yeah, no, for sure. Right.
Okay.
Well, I think that wraps the session then.
I think so. I think we are really I think we have a lot that we have to share. I think we did share a lot. Hopefully, if you have questions, reach out for us, I guess.
Yeah, we'll throw up a slide at the end of the recording for all the social media links and blogs. And
definitely.
Right.
Hey,
We'll
Simon,
see you
thank
around.
you. Yeah, thank you very much for joining me in this session.
No worries. Happy to help. Catch you later.
Catch you later. Bye bye.